to welcome you today to today's Qatar Transportation webcast series entitled StarMetro's Pilot of a Mobile Fare Payment App. I would like to introduce our three presenters today. First, we'll give you a very brief introduction. Our first presenter today is Dr. Sean Barbeau, and Dr. Sean Barbeau is a principal mobile software architect here at the Center for Urban Transportation Research and has been working on location-aware mobile apps for the last 10 years. Our second presenter today is Sarah Hendricks. Sarah is a senior research associate here at the Center for Urban Transportation Research, and she works in the specializations of transportation demand management. And recently she has done some studies on pedestrian and bicycle access to public transit stops, as well as a study on evaluating public trail accessibility to transit. And then our last presenter today is Kelly Robertson. Kelly is the founder and CEO of Bowstern Marketing, an integrated firm leading the country in communication strategies and execution. She has extensive experience in coordinating campaigns for clients from transportation agencies to nationally recognized brands such as NASCAR and Gold's Gym. So with that being said, I am going to hand today's presentation over to Sarah. And Sarah, you'll take it away.
Great. Thanks, Stephanie. So good afternoon, and I'm going to talk about StarMetro's pilot of a mobile fare payment app. This was conducted for the Florida Department of Transportation, and this is a project that we started in February of 2017, and this was an evaluation that was done on behalf of StarMetro Public Transit Agency that is in Tallahassee, Florida. So this was really a team effort. StarMetro assigned a project manager to serve as a liaison with whom we planned and carried out the pilot. There were other StarMetro staff as well that were very involved in this, including the bus operator supervisors, all of the bus operators of the fixed route service, and information technology staff participated as well. Kyle Masters served as the Florida DOT project manager, and the evaluation team included researchers from Qatar, including Sean Barbeau, who brings expertise in mobile applications, as well as Ann Joslin, who brings expertise in transit planning. We subcontracted with Token Transit as the app developer and vendor, and also Bowstern as our marketing professionals. We also worked with Dr. Candace Breakwood of University of Tennessee, Knoxville, who has in-depth experience with information technologies used in the transit industry, and these include mobile apps, and also brings expertise in the area of survey design. So let me talk just a little bit about the background of this study. So there are already a variety of transit-related mobile apps out there, such as those that can be used for searching transit routes and schedules, trip planning, and also to provide real-time information about where your bus is and when it will arrive at your transit stop. There are a growing number of transit agencies out there that are now adding a mobile fare payment app to that suite of services. Studies show a growing market penetration of the use of smartphones among households that are both upper and lower income. So mobile fare payment apps can leverage consumer use of smartphones. So in 2015, the Florida Department of Transportation Public Transit Office asked Qatar to investigate the use of mobile applications, known as apps, that are downloaded onto your smartphone, and to use them as a convenient way for transit riders to pay for their transit fares. At that time, there were just a few transit agencies that were doing this. So researchers conducted an initial study to do a scan of the capabilities of different kinds of mobile fare payment technologies, and they summarized the features of these technologies and the services offered by the different vendors. The researchers interviewed selected transit agencies that have deployed mobile fare payment apps, and this was to find out what they did and what they learned from their experience. The researchers also developed a recommended concept of operations on how Florida transit agencies should go about planning and deploying a mobile fare payment app for their transit customers. And that study was completed in the spring of 2016, and a report is available summarizing their findings, and this study was known as Phase 1. So why are transit agencies interested in mobile fare payment apps? It enables riders to purchase transit tickets using their smartphones and then board the train or bus with their ticket right on their phone. Transit agencies that have deployed these are eager to provide this additional fare payment option that makes it convenient for existing riders to pay their fares and may appeal to future riders, particularly the younger generation. Transit agencies also see mobile ticketing as another option for marketing and data collection. For example, you could bundle purchases to include not just the transit pass, but also a parking permit and coupons. Data can be collected regarding rider attributes and travel preferences. It's seen as a means to reduce the cost of fare collection and potentially increase operational efficiency by speeding up the boarding process. It eliminates the need to have exact change, carry cash, and present cash. It eliminates the need to travel in advance to purchase your tickets. The apps are free. They're downloadable to iOS, Android, and possibly other platforms in the future. You just need a Wi-Fi connection. And these apps are designed to be easy to understand and use. Customers create an account through a one-time setup process that prompts them for their billing information. That could be credit card, debit card, or another electronic payment method. Different vendors accept different forms of payment. And at the time of travel, customers will open the mobile app, select the fare product that they wish to use, and then activate the ticket. So in addition to the mobile ticketing functionality, it's envisioned that the customer-facing mobile app could have additional useful features for customers. So the purpose of our Phase 2 was to test the implementation of the Token Transit app by evaluating the functionality of the mobile app from the perspective of the transit agency. This is the investment of staff resources for training, marketing, finance integration with the vendor, and all of these things against the gains in operational efficiencies. And these could be things such as reduced wear and tear on fare boxes, reduced costs by having to handle less cash revenues, and quicker customer boarding time that might translate into better on-time performance. And also, we wanted to evaluate the app from the perspective of customer satisfaction. So while some large transit agencies have invested in mobile payment technologies and software specifically designed for their transit agency, Token Transit is an off-the-shelf product that any transit agency can purchase. So here you can see an image of the Token Transit app on a smartphone screen and the selection of all the transit agencies. The Token Transit is configured for purchasing transit passes, and this is known as the universality feature. So Token Transit is compatible with VoiceOver for iOS devices. VoiceOver is a gesture-based screen reader that lets you enjoy using iPhone even if you do not see the screen. Token Transit is also compatible with TalkBack for Android devices. TalkBack is the Google screen reader included on Android devices that gives you feedback so that you can use your device without looking at the screen. So during the initial months of the project, there were 3 concurrent activities going on. First, the Token Transit app was configured for the StarMetro Transit Agency. There was also marketing plan development going on, as well as the development of an evaluation plan. So Token Transit configured their app for use by StarMetro, as well as a bi-county service known as the Gadsden Express. The Gadsden Express is operated by a separate transit agency. And so configuring the app includes enabling the option to purchase all the fare pass types. And those included discounted fares for youths, seniors, and persons with disabilities, and a one-person Gadsden Express bus fare. Token Transit also integrated their financial systems to enable the transfer of revenues from Token Transit to StarMetro. Token Transit's work also included the creation of a dashboard of reporting functions that StarMetro could use to monitor the use of the app by customers. It also creates heat maps created to show where customers were boarding in buses using the app, and also to generate revenue reports. So we wanted to gauge customer satisfaction with the Token Transit app, and we decided to use a survey to measure this. And these were a pre-test baseline survey administered to a limited set of customers just prior to their use of the app, and then a follow-up survey of the same customers after they had been using the app for several weeks. So we used a marketing campaign to advertise the opportunity to participate in this limited launch of the mobile app to interested and qualified bus riders. So the bus riders would be steered to a website that provided them information about the pilot. It asked for their agreement to participate and then had them complete a short baseline survey before they were then delivered to a secondary web page that provided them access to the Token Transit mobile app download instructions. So once the Token Transit app was configured for StarMetro and the banking was integrated, we began the beta test, and the purpose of which was to test the Token Transit app with actual money to purchase bus passes and then activate the purchased bus pass on one's smartphone and board the bus. So the tester would show the activated bus pass to the bus operator, and the bus operator would visually validate the pass. The beta test also tests the financial system to ensure that there are no problems with the routing of the revenue and the account reconciliation. So in effect, the beta test is meant to run the app through the entire life cycle of the transaction to determine if there are any issues before launching it to the public and to actual customers. So the graphic illustrates the elements of the beta test. It involved training the bus operators to recognize and to visually validate the Token Transit bus passes, noting on the customer's phone screen the various security features of the app. And those security features prevent fraud. They include an animated real-time clock, a word, color, and photo of the day. And Token Transit provided training materials, including a YouTube recording and hard copy handouts for the bus operators. The supervisors were responsible to see to it that the bus operators familiarized themselves with the materials. And then in addition to bus operator training, staff from StarMetro and the City of Tallahassee and the Florida DOT conducted the beta test of Token Transit. So a few weeks into the beta test, we submitted a quick SurveyMonkey by email to the beta testers to receive feedback about their experience and issues that they encountered. And in addition, we recruited participants for 2 focus groups that we held during the beta testing period. These were focus groups of bus riders. So the focus group participants were asked about their bus riding experience, what kinds of trips they take, how long they have been riding the bus, how they pay their bus fares, and what they like and dislike about it. And then we provided the focus group participants with a demo account with a mock phone number, passcode, and mock credit card account that was set up in advance by Token Transit so that the participants could download the Token Transit app on their personal smartphones and go through the actual motions of purchasing bus passes and activating the passes as they would do before boarding the bus. So in this way, the participants could experience using the app without actually using their own money or depending on it to gain passage onto the bus. The focus group leaders observed and asked questions to better understand how the participants understood the app. So the demo accounts also were initially used by the pilot team members, the bus operators in training, and the internal staff before the actual beta test started. So when the beta testing actually started, the beta testers were then issued $50 Visa cards, gift cards, by StarMetro to use to purchase the bus passes. And these funds were routed back to StarMetro in the form of bus pass revenue. So StarMetro used no expense funds to conduct the beta test. So then the results of the feedback from the bus operators, the beta testers, and the focus group participants were then shared with Token Transit to help them make refinements to the app. So concurrent with the time period of the beta testing, and that was in July last summer already, researchers prepared the baseline survey to to be administered to the selected customers. So as part of the preparation of the baseline survey, we considered which bus riders would be qualified to participate and used initial questions in the baseline survey to screen out all those who did not qualify. So these included people under the age of 18, students who attend Florida State University or Florida A&M University in Tallahassee, and that's because their identification cards allow them to ride fare free, so they wouldn't have any need for the app. And then also we screened out people who do not use a smartphone. So in addition to the preparation of the baseline survey, while the beta testing was going on, the marketing campaign also was gearing up to launch in early September. The objective of the marketing campaign was to recruit bus riders from StarMetro and the Gadsden Express to participate as focus group participants and also as testers of the Token Transit app. And that would be, of course, using their own money. So we set an objective of recruiting at least 200 customer testers who qualified and who would successfully complete the baseline survey. Bow Stern, the marketing consultant, designed a highly focused and successful campaign. And Kelly Robertson of Bow Stern will now talk about their marketing campaign, their planning, implementation, and results. Kelly?
Thank you, Sarah. So we're going to chat about how we recruited participants for the purposes of the pilot study. I'll get into some of the primary objectives for the campaign, or goals rather. We wanted people to know that the pilot project was available for them to participate in. It was important that we would have users with both Android and iOS devices just for the purposes of testing. As Sarah mentioned, we had a goal of garnering 200 participants. And certainly we did not just want them to download the app, but then we wanted them to actively use it and provide their experience via a survey. So it was important for us that we didn't just capture their attention one time, but really had them bought into the entire experience. There were a couple concerns when we started, or challenges at the beginning of the project. One was that this was a pilot, and so as a team, we knew that there would be an end to the study, and so it was going to be important that we communicated that along the way, and that participants truly did know that they were part of a test. When we looked at the overall approach for the marketing rollout, you can look kind of here. It shows you a journey or a course that participants would move through. The left side of the screen really is about marketing tactics. So we had several different tactics teed up to make current riders aware of this app, the mobile payment fare app. We were going to do that through a series of social media and digital advertising, specifically with Facebook. We had electronic blasts lined up, and we had an active list of current riders, about 1,000 current riders that we were intending to target. We developed a web page, as Sarah mentioned, that talked about the details surrounding the study itself, and then we had interior bus signage that would be prevalent on key routes. Again, Sarah mentioned that there were some individuals that were not germane to the study, those that already rode for free, and so it was important for us that we did not spend money on interior bus signage for routes or buses that targeted those key audience groups. So on the left-hand side, we wanted consumers to be aware of it. Ultimately, we wanted an individual to land on the campaign webpage. Typically, when you're launching a promotion like this, let's say that you are launching a mobile fare app in your own community, the primary objective is to get the app download. And so your initial call to action would certainly be to download the app and begin using it. The key differentiator with this project was that we not only needed them to download the app, but we had to garner their contact information so that we could stay plugged in with them throughout the study. As we mentioned, we needed them to take a survey about whether they qualified, about their experience midway through, and then at the culmination of the project. For this reason, we thought it was very important that we landed them onto a web page where we could garner their email address and contact information prior to them being able to obtain the download. So there was a bit of an extra step there by design. Once they gave us their contact information and vouched that they were interested in participating and really becoming part of the pilot, then we would turn over the web page into the actual app download, and then from there we would have all the appropriate contact information to stay plugged in and keep in communications with them. So that was the overall strategy. When we looked at developing the campaign brand, we used the Test Our ePass as the primary campaign mark. Several reasons this worked really well for us. It not only helped drive the consumer awareness about the fact that there was an ePass or a mobile pass that was available, but it also helped head off that concern about the fact that it was a pilot program and that it was ending. And so by using verbiage like test, be a part of the trial, we're automatically seeding this expectation that it was a limited time run. Graphically, we used a play on buses and actual routes and passes to come up with a little mark that was custom to the program itself. And then as I mentioned, here are the series of all of the tactics that we utilized to really get in front of consumers. The final one being community outreach. And ultimately, this was an innovative product for riders on the StarMetro system, and so that certainly by the nature of those that are interested in technology, we're interested in participating. But to really increase the incentive for participation, our team also reached out to local businesses that were along the route to garner gift cards and prizes at no cost to the system, such that if anyone participated in the pilot, they were entered into a chance for a raffle of these prizes and drawings. So that was an extra layered component. We have found in all of our experiences with launching products like this, layering in that community-focused incentive really helps drive participation. And it always seems silly when you're sitting at the table, you know, that a $25 gift card to the local pizza shop is going to get someone to ultimately say yes to participating, but I'm telling you, it really does. Oddly enough, it does. So don't forget to layer in that unique local component as well as you consider launching an initiative like this. Ultimately, the goal being to drive website traffic and signups, and here's just a quick screen cap of that website. Because it was very straightforward, we really did not want a user to get lost in a bunch of different areas with a bunch of different tabs, and so we were very intentional in the design such that we set the brand presence with the mark itself at the top. We made it a step-by-step process. Here's how you participate, and then we certainly gave call-outs to local businesses that helped donate prize packages. So we ended up getting through this website over 470 survey completions, and that was responses multiple times, you know, that these individuals participated throughout the length of the survey, which was fabulous. We had originally, as we stated, targeted for 200 participants, and so we exceeded that goal by over 50%, which I know the team was really excited about because they had more data to work with and more feedback from ultimate consumers. Just to show you a little glimpse into how some of those marketing tactics were effective-wise, we did social media advertising. We were able to get really finite via Facebook advertising because we had email addresses of current riders. I mentioned that e-blast list. You can take email addresses, upload them into Facebook, and Facebook will essentially put your ad set in front of those targeted individuals. And so we were able to really refine the target audience that saw the pilot program message. We also targeted current fans of the StarMetro page. And so those two targeting tactics combined really helped with the reach of this advertising, and then certainly the clicks through into the website, which was important. Lots of shares amongst friends, and as you all know, there are there are families within transit systems. Individuals shared it with other riders that they thought would be interested, and so that really helped as far as the post engagement. Almost 1,500 individuals shared or commented or interacted with the actual ads themselves. We did some A/B testing. Anytime you're launching a marketing effort like this, I would highly recommend that. So these were some of the most successful messages as we launched the campaign. Again, you see winning free prizes being a strong contender as far as the ad that got engagement. Again, everything related to testing, and then the ePass verbiage you see pop up. But you're able to essentially upload multiple graphics, and Facebook will run and help run a series of tests that showcases which ad set is most successful for you based on number of impressions, number of clicks, and ultimately number of conversions, which in our case was individuals filling out and signing up to participate in the study. And so from there you can really begin to funnel your ad dollars into the ad set that has become most effective for you and that will be most effective for you moving forward. The eBlast is another component. Again, all of the visuals, the look and feel was consistent throughout every platform, irregardless of where the consumer encountered the campaign. We saw industry standard open rates, click-through rates that seemed well above industry standard. Click-through rate is typically about 5% on an email, so lots of interest there. And then we always look at how an individual is interacting with the campaign, mobile versus desktop. Something to take into consideration, especially as this was a mobile campaign. I anticipated that the majority of individuals opening would be on their mobile device, but it really wasn't. It was almost a 50-50 split, and so that was kind of interesting. Certainly you want to ensure that your website and your email campaigns are visible and able to be viewed easily on a mobile device. That's absolutely a key contender now. Don't just test and vet the marketing materials on your desktop computer, because in this case, nearly half of respondents were opening up the graphics on a phone or a tablet. And so you want to be sure that that looks appropriate, that the spacing is aligned properly, just to, again, ensure that the campaign looks consistent for all users. The interior bus signage, just a snapshot of what that looked like. Again, very strong call to action, be the first. We had a unique URL that was utilized on all interior bus signage, StarMetroEpass.com. I would highly recommend that. Again, if you're launching a campaign, try and avoid the // multiple slashes. The more challenging that the URL is to recall and remember, the more challenging it will be to garner participants. So if you can have a URL that is specific to a campaign or very easy to remember, utilize that, and then you can point it in any direction that you want. You can point that URL straight into your website, onto a campaign page on your website. But I think that's a critical piece. It also makes it, reporting-wise, very easy for you to tell how many people visited that URL. So from a tracking perspective, you really are able to have eyes on visitors to the site specific to that campaign. The other thing that I would recommend and that we utilized for this campaign is remarketing. And so if you've ever been to a website looking for a pair of tennis shoes, and maybe you did not make the purchase, you'll notice that everywhere you browse for what seems like the next month, it's 30 days actually, you see those tennis shoes that follow you around, everywhere. It's on weather.com, it's on your Google experience, it's on YouTube videos, it's everywhere. And so you're able to continue to target participants if they don't take the desired action that you wanted. So in this case, we wanted people to sign up for the pilot. if they went to the website and failed to take that action, we have the ability to target them with remarketing. And that's really just a fancy name for web banners. You know, that's web banners that essentially follow them around their browsing experience that continue to call them to participate, you know, come back to the site so that we actually do hook them in for the study itself. And then, as I mentioned, community outreach. In this case, we had over 200 prizes that were negotiated just from local partners, which was great. And I really feel like this was a strong component to just help drive the feedback. Doesn't hurt to give away free coffee and food and pizza. So that was kind of a look at what we executed as far as the outreach and the marketing efforts were concerned. And from here forward, I believe I'm going to pass it over to Sarah. Are you taking it back?
Yes, I am. Great.
Perfect.
Thanks so much, Kelly. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, so we're going to talk now about the elements of the evaluation. So here is a list of the different parts of the evaluation of the mobile fare payment app. Two of the objectives of this pilot were to test token transit for Android and iOS devices at StarMetro and evaluate its functionality. So its functionality had to do with whether its use translated into operational efficiencies as well as increased customer satisfaction. Operational efficiencies were things like whether it reduced the use of cash to pay for bus passes. Reduction in cash meant less wear and tear on the fare boxes in the buses. Reduction in cash also meant less time spent by staff handling the cash. Another operational efficiency is the perceived time that it takes to board the bus and pay one's fare. And additionally, it was important to assess how well bus operators were able to visually validate the bus passes, if they felt confident doing this, and if they perceived that it enabled the boarding process to go more quickly and smoothly. Another desire by StarMetro was to enhance customer satisfaction by enabling bus riders an additional convenient pay option. So we measured app functionality using several information sources, and these included logging inquiries or issues experienced by the bus operators during the beta test and during the external launch of the app with participating customers. And this information was collected by the bus operator supervisors. The City of Tallahassee's Customer Operations Department provides customer service to StarMetro customers who telephone for information or assistance. So the customer operations staff conveyed information to us whenever customers called with inquiries about the Token Transit app. And additionally, the app itself has a contact us feature. And this is, customers can use that to relate inquiries or questions. Token Transit staff shared with us all the inquiries that they had received by StarMetro or the Gadsden Express customers, and there were very few bus operator and customer inquiries. The evaluation included the Token Transit dashboard functionality. Shown here is a heat map generated through the Token Transit app that shows the bus boarding location of all rider and pass types. The evaluation also included the baseline pre-test survey and the post-test survey of customers and the bus operator survey. So a total of over 6,400 bus passes of all types combined were purchased by using the Token Transit app during this testing period that was from the beginning of September 2017 through March 2018. And on the screen here, what you see is the total passes validated using Token Transit. So these included 31-day passes and 7-day passes, the 1-day unlimited passes that were purchased once but could be validated many times in addition to the one-time pass. So it's important to note that because this was a limited external launch of the app, more passes would likely have been sold if the Token Transit app had been made available to all of the bus riders. So the lists here describe the contents of the pre-test survey and the post-test survey. So the development of the surveys was a detailed process about what information we wanted to glean about the impact of the use of the mobile fare payment apps, how to word the questions concisely and clearly to minimize confusion. And also we wanted to keep the surveys as short as possible to encourage the highest number of survey completions. So the riders took the survey as they signed up to participate over a period of several weeks in September and October. And then after they had used the token transit app for several weeks, then they took a post-test survey. There were a total of 106 pilot participants that took the post-test survey, and this was administered during a 2-week period in mid-November. So the pre-test survey collected some customer participant demographics. Participants tended to be younger, but the participants ranged in age from 18 to over 65. 52% of them were female. Almost 70% indicated that there were no motor vehicles in their household. Bus operators were asked how they usually pay for their bus fare, and this is prior to their use of the mobile fare payment app. We also asked them about what type of phone they used. So in the post-test survey, the customers indicated that they were generally satisfied with the token transit mobile fare payment app, and they enjoyed using the app. So in the open-ended comments section, the most frequently used descriptors were that it was convenient and easy to use. And so here you see the percentage of survey respondents. Over 75% said that they were satisfied. There was some other indications too that there might have been some issues. About 20% said that it took more time to board the bus instead of less. 13% said that they experienced issues activating a bus pass when boarding the bus. So over 75% of the customers indicated that they were very satisfied using the app. And though if you add in those saying that they were somewhat satisfied, that was about 20%, then over 95% of the customers were either very satisfied or somewhat satisfied using the app. So there were many perceived benefits, and these are the kinds of responses that we got from the riders. Less time spent waiting in queues at ticket vending machines, increased access to different types of fares, better ability to obtain a refund if a ticket was lost or stolen, not having to worry about having exact change or fare cards, fumbling with coins, those kinds of things. This pie chart shows the frequency with which bus riders activated a token transit bus pass. Over 50% used token transit 4 or more times per week. Over 84% of survey respondents indicated that they used token transit at least once per week. Over 60% indicated that it was either somewhat or very important to be able to use a single app to purchase bus passes for both the StarMetro and the Gadsden Express. So this is that universality feature that I had mentioned earlier. Over 90% of bus riders either somewhat or strongly preferred a single or primary app to access all of their services. And that's versus downloading 2 or more apps and then having to switch between the multiple apps. Examples of these kinds of services might include things like real-time arrival, vehicle position information, and trip planning. We also surveyed the bus operators. There were 110 bus operators who drove the fixed route. 45 of the bus operators completed the bus operator survey. And their role in the pilot was to visually validate the mobile pass, bus passes, and they were asked to answer survey questions from their perspective as a bus operator. So almost 80% of the bus operators indicated that they were somewhat satisfied or very satisfied with the app. 93% indicated it was either somewhat easier or much easier to collect bus fares using the app, and 75% indicated that it took either somewhat less or much less time for passengers to board the bus. However, over 37% of the bus operators indicated that they had experienced issues with a passenger who did not have cell service or reception. Over 25% indicated having some difficulty seeing the customer's smartphone screen. There were some customers that had problems activating their bus passes. And then there was some initial issues with the color of the day. There were a number of comments. Overall, they were very positive. Less bill and coin jam in the fare box. Confidence of knowing that the fare is there. They preferred the method, and they were hoping that it became available to all of the passengers and not just a limited number. There were some overall findings from the pilot. The smaller and mid-sized transit agencies like StarMetro, where the fare collection needs and service offerings are standard, with no unusual circumstances that might otherwise warrant the development of an in-house solution. In those cases, an off-the-shelf product might be ideal. The vendor takes some percentage of the revenue from the bus passes, and there's a lack of transit agency branding in the App Store, but the transit agency will not have the responsibility and the ongoing expense of updating and maintaining the app, so that when the vendor rolls out an update or a new feature, it's immediately available for all the participating agencies. The transit agency can download the raw data. The dashboard provides access to the daily aggregated updated rider analytics. There's also information on the dashboard regarding the daily individual sales data. And also there's a capability to issue refunds. And in some cases, the token transit can issue those refunds directly. So the transit agency can make changes to fare structure as displayed in the app. It can provide daily revenue transfer data or at intervals preferred by the transit agency and provide a monthly finance report. But there's some challenges to using the Token Transit app, and now I'm going to turn it over to Sean to discuss the challenges.
Great, thanks, Sarah. As we mentioned before, there were some complaints about riders not having internet connectivity. So with the Token Transit app, when you activate your pass, it does confirm with the server that the pass is valid, which requires some kind of internet connection, either through your cellular data connection or through a Wi-Fi connection. So when there were issues with that, and I'll talk a little bit about why that could be in a few slides here, users were requesting, we want to be able to just activate our pass offline so we don't need internet access. But this can be less secure, and if that's not done properly, it could potentially leave you open to fraud and users being able to create their own passes. So there were some fears that riders expressed of having a dead phone battery or losing their phone and then not having access to their tickets, but really throughout the study, to my knowledge, we never actually had anyone report this, and it actually became a real problem. Some riders requested the current Token Transit app. You could use a credit card to purchase passes. Some riders wanted support as well for Apple Pay, Android Pay, and Touch ID, just to make the experience a little more seamless on mobile. Also, riders had a lot of questions, understandably, about app security and how the credit card was being protected. So that's something that riders were definitely concerned about. Also, over 90% of riders either somewhat or strongly prefer a single app to access all different types of transit information, as Sarah mentioned earlier. So in the Token Transit app, it was just fare payments within the Token Transit. There wasn't any other type of transit information within that app. So we kind of represented this then, digging into the last issue a little more closely here, so talking about integration between apps. So this is the scenario that riders don't like, when there's individual apps for payment, real-time, and trip planning, and this is the case with StarMetro in Tallahassee right now, and many other transit agencies as well. Riders really don't like having to switch between apps and having multiple apps installed on their phone that takes up space, and it's just not a great experience. So one step forward and towards a solution here is partial integration. So in this case, you kind of have one app that stands as the umbrella app, and this is the main app that you direct users to go to. But then within that app, there can be links via deep links or application programming interfaces, APIs, that allow the rider to tap within the main app and then be easily directed out to other apps that handle, say, payment, ride share, bike share information, or other transit information. So this is kind of the next step towards integration that I think is kind of a good path forward for a lot of transit agencies. Then you can also look at full integration. So this is where you have one app that does everything. So You can accomplish this via APIs or SDKs from various vendors to integrate them into one app. However, you will end up paying more for integration costs, and you also then kind of own the entire app experience and have to figure out how all the different pieces work together. Those are the trade-offs for those two models. So back to the issues of customers trying to activate their passes. So we found that it seemed that the writers trying to activate passes, in some cases, they would just get hung up where the device would just kind of spin and they wouldn't be able to activate their pass. So again, we don't really want to do offline pass activation because of fraud potential. And then also looking at this, the reason writers want to use Wi-Fi instead of cellular data is because cellular data really costs you money unless you have an unlimited data plan, which tends to be more expensive than other options. So it's also possible that some of these connectivity issues we were seeing would affect lower income writers more than higher income writers because users that really want to use Wi-Fi, many of them don't want to use cellular data connection because they don't have unlimited data plans. So what we hypothesized was part of the problem here is that StarMetro had Wi-Fi access points, hotspots, installed on both their vehicles and at some of the transit centers. So these hotspots also had what we call a captive portal, which is when you first connect to that hotspot, you have to open your web browser on the device and then go through and accept the terms of service and kind of click through before your device is then granted access to the internet through that Wi-Fi portal. So what seemed to be happening here is that writers, like a bus would pull up to a stop, the writer's device would, in the background, would try to connect to that Wi-Fi hotspot. The writer was trying to activate their pass, they hadn't yet agreed to the terms of service, and therefore they didn't have a connection to the internet through the Wi-Fi, so it just looked like the little wheel was spinning on their device and they weren't able to activate their ticket. So our suggestion here is to see if you can remove this captive portal from Wi-Fi access points if you're a transit agency for on-vehicle or if you have them installed at stops, or implement some kind of system where the user can agree to that terms of service once and then future connections automatically happen without the user having to go back and then re-agree to that again. And that way they don't get trapped behind this captive portal. And also, we noticed that StarMetro had the Wi-Fi hotspots for buses and stations with the exact same name. So in certain cases, the phone might be trying to switch off between the station and the bus might pull away, and then that may cause connectivity issues as well. And then regarding some of the writer concerns with dead batteries, again, we didn't really see it being a big issue during the tests, but transit agencies may want to consider providing phone charging ports. You see this at a lot of airports these days, and maybe at transfer centers or transit centers, you may want to consider offering charging ports. Also, we strongly suggest that you plan for integration of mobile apps when you start testing out different mobile apps and deploying them for real-time and information, trip planning, mobile fare payment. You really want to develop a plan. In RFPs, you want to make sure that you require vendors to include some type of application programming interface, API, deep links or SDKs in their solution, and this will give you the flexibility in the future to then integrate that particular solution with other solutions that you may not have yet, or that you may have, and in which case you want to make sure that you can use those APIs and SDKs in your existing software or apps as well. Since writers were concerned about security and personal data, we recommend that you highlight and clearly explain to users exactly how their data is being used and how you're keeping their information secure to give them peace of mind. And based on writer requests, also consider supporting other forms of payment, Apple Pay, Android Pay, and PayPal as well. And then Sarah, I'm going to turn it back over to you here to finish up.
All right, thanks, Sean. Yeah, just a few additional recommendations, and this would include conducting an initial pilot as part of a commitment for a future permanent deployment. When we first started this pilot, it was supposed to be a temporary test, and ultimately StarMetro decided to continue the service. But conducting a pilot as part of a commitment for a future permanent deployment avoids discontinuing a service to customers after they've already grown accustomed to using it. Also, support the introduction of mobile fare payment apps with marketing to raise awareness, provide encouragement and information. During this pilot, some common sources of confusion by bus riders could be addressed in some cases by Token Transit, making alterations to the app, but in other cases, the rider confusion could often be addressed through marketing and information. We also recommend providing ongoing refresher training to the bus operators how to visually validate the mobile passes. And then lastly, provide the option to purchase Dial-A-Ride on the mobile app, which is something that StarMetro plans to do. And so the report, the study was done in the end of June with the report now out available on this link. And there's also appendices that provide the survey instruments and the other detailed information. And with that, thank you for listening. This is our contact information, and I think we might have a few minutes for some questions.
Yes, thank you so much, Sarah, Sean, and Kelly for the great presentation. And I just wanted to quickly remind everybody that I did place a quick link to the report and the appendices in the link section in your upper right-hand corner of your screen. So if you need to have access to those are available there. And as well as a copy of the presentation is available for download in the file section. So if you have a quick question, we do have about 5 minutes or so. That Q&A box is located in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. Simply type in any question or comment that you have, and we'll get to those. And this first question comes in. It says, did you consider beacon activators? And if not, why?
Sean, I can take a first shot at that. So FDOT had picked Token Transit to participate in this pilot, and at this time, or at the time when we started this study and we're working with Token Transit, they weren't currently using beacon activators. So beacons use typically Bluetooth technology installed on the vehicle, and you can have certain interactions when the rider approaches the vehicle with the technology. So the short answer is that we didn't, Token Transit didn't have that available. FDOT wanted to use Token Transit because it was pure visual validation and didn't require any integration with equipment, installation of equipment on buses, and could be deployed at other agencies as well. So that's the short answer.
Okay, and then the next question comes in and says, what type of consideration or mitigation for unbanked or underbanked customers without credit cards?
Well, that was an issue that that did come up. There was some concern that that was something that would happen. I think one of the solutions could be that customers could purchase Visa cards with money on them, that they could use those.
Does the transit agency get any information about where the rider is traveling from the mobile ticketing app?
So for the Token Transit app that we evaluated in this particular study, the agency was able to see where the rider had activated the transit pass based on the phone location services, and so that could either be GPS or potentially Wi-Fi or another location source. So that was kind of the granularity at which the StarMetro could see passes being activated, and that's also where they're activated but not necessarily used. So if it's a monthly pass, the rider may activate that somewhere and then use it for a month. I know there are other apps in Token Transit as well that's looking at other options to collect more information about how travelers are moving around the system.
Okay. The next question comes in and says, will you continue to continue the pilot for a full production rollout, or will they be looking for a white label solution?
Well, our study, the pilot ended for the customers in March, but StarMetro decided to continue, to my knowledge, they decided to continue for a year to continue with token transit until they could put out a request for proposal for a permanent vendor.
The next question comes in about how are they going to handle customers moving forward without smartphones.
Could you ask that question again? How are they? I'm sorry.
Yeah, it says any concerns around equality for lower income or customer population without smartphones? I guess maybe will they?
I don't believe they're planning to abandon their current ticketing solution, so that individuals that did not have access to a smartphone, that, they would still be able to purchase a ticket via the traditional methods.
The next question, we'll take one more question. It says, why did you not pilot the mobile fare payment app to the entire StarMetro customer base?
So this was partly a decision of StarMetro management. So introducing this app was a new experience for them to manage as well as for their customers, and they wanted to control and manage the deployment of the app on a limited scale in case there were serious issues that resulted, and if that were the case, then it would only affect a small percentage of the customers.
Okay. Thank you so much. I did open up the evaluation. If you could please take a few moments to complete that evaluation. As I mentioned earlier, the feedback included is very important to the entire series, but also to our presenters. I would like to thank Sarah, Kelly, and Sean for the great and informative presentation today. We will get back on our normal Thursday schedule this coming Thursday, so we've got a double header this week for the Cutter Transportation webcast series. For this next webinar, we're going to be talking about motorcycle safety programs using a public health approach, presented by another one of our researchers here at the Center for Urban Transportation Research, Siwon Zhang. So again, thank you so much today, and we will see you on Thursday.